October 28, 2025. While Rio de Janeiro sleeps, 2,500 police officers prepare for what would become the most lethal police operation in Brazilian history. Their target is the Comando Vermelho, Brazil's oldest and most powerful criminal organization. Their mission is to execute arrest warrants and stop the faction from expanding its territory. By the end of this day, 121 people will be dead. 4 of them are police officers. The other 117 become the center of a national and international debate about what really happened. Operation Contenção was not improvised. According to Governor Claudio Castro, it was planned for 60 days with the goal of capturing key criminal leaders hidden in the favelas. A total of 2,500 officers from the civil and military police took part in the operation. BOPE acted as the main tactical force, supported by 32 armored vehicles, 2 helicopters, and multiple drones. The target area covered 9 million square meters, twice the size of Copacabana. The plan included blocking escape routes through the forest between Alemão and Peña. The operation began at 3 in the morning. Police forces entered both complexes at the same time, and gunfire erupted instantly. Criminals used drones to drop explosives on police positions. Schools and health clinics closed their doors. 47 schools were affected, leaving thousands of children without access to classes during the operation. The government stated that 60 criminals were killed in armed combat, and that all deaths resulted from violent resistance. Officers seized 118 weapons, including 93 rifles, along with more than 1 ton of drugs. 81 suspects were arrested. Officials described the action as a major blow against organized crime in Rio de Janeiro. 4 police officers also lost their lives. Among them was Rodrigo Veloso Cabral from the 39th Precinct, Clayton Seraphim, who left behind a daughter, and Aber Fonseca, a father of 2. Their funerals were marked by emotional tributes and strong expressions of grief from families, colleagues, and members of the community who honored their service. Retaliation swept across the city. 71 buses were set on fire, and major highways like Linha Vermelha, Linha Amarela, and Avenida Brasil were blocked. Rio de Janeiro came to a halt. Public transportation shut down, forcing thousands of citizens to walk long distances. Chaos spread as smoke rose through several neighborhoods. The turning point came the next morning, when residents climbed into the forest between the 2 complexes. What they found challenged the government's account. Bodies were scattered among rocks and dense vegetation. Witnesses described hearing screams during the night. Some said they were shot at when attempting to help people who were still alive. Videos recorded by residents showed bodies lying on the forest floor, some appearing to have been killed at close range. 74 bodies were carried down the hill by residents themselves. No firefighters, police, or official agency assisted in the removal. The bodies were placed in Praça São Lucas, where families began identifying loved ones. Funeral director Fernando Argivalles described the scene as a massacre, saying the condition of the bodies suggested executions. Reports indicated victims without shirts, signs of mutilation, hands tied behind their backs, and gunshot wounds to the back of the head. Some victims had sent messages claiming they had surrendered before being killed. Among the dead were 2 brothers from Manaus, who were found embracing each other. Their image quickly became a symbol of the tragedy. As debates grew, investigations became increasingly controversial. The government insisted that all police actions followed regulations, but new videos and testimonies pointed to possible evidence tampering. Crime scenes were not preserved, and no proper forensic procedures were carried out. Ballistic tests were not performed, and bodies were removed before investigators arrived. The Public Defender's Office received several complaints, including allegations of torture, executions, theft of documents, denial of medical care, and harassment of residents. Official numbers conflicted. Some statements reported 113 arrests, while others claimed 100. Weapons listed by authorities also varied. Only 20 of the 100 arrest warrants were executed. The main target, known as Doka, managed to escape. The data raised doubts about the operation's effectiveness and transparency. The United Nations expressed deep concern and demanded an independent investigation. UN rapporteurs stated that the deaths appeared systematic and could represent a form of social cleansing against marginalized groups. They highlighted reports of bodies found with hands tied, shots to the back of the head, and the use of helicopters and drones to fire into communities. Brazil's Supreme Court requested detailed information, intelligence reports used to justify the operation, full forensic documentation, and body camera footage from all officers involved. The court also demanded explanations about compliance with decisions that restrict police actions in favelas, raising questions about whether legal protocols were followed properly. International pressure increased because the operation occurred 1 week before a major global climate event hosted in Rio. Delegations expressed worry about safety and human rights. The timing also raised political questions, since security was a leading topic in upcoming elections. Critics argued that the operation carried strong political motivations. Families searched morgues hoping to find missing relatives. Children suffered panic attacks from the gunfire. Many homes were damaged, electricity failed in several areas, and essential services were interrupted. Residents described feelings of abandonment and fear. The impact went far beyond the number of deaths recorded in the official reports. Community activists reported receiving constant messages from residents asking for help, including cases of people who had disappeared, neighbors found injured, and families too afraid to leave their homes. Mothers questioned why the state only appeared with armed forces instead of social investment, education, and opportunities for the younger generation. Operation Contención ended with 121 deaths, marking it as the deadliest police operation in Brazil's history. The government celebrated it as a major victory against organized crime. The United Nations, however, called for a thorough investigation into possible executions and human rights violations committed during the operation. The bodies have been buried and the burned buses removed from the streets, but the unanswered questions remain. In the fight against crime, where is the line between legitimate police action and state violence? And when 121 people die in a single day, who has the authority to decide whether it was truly necessary? The BOPE is not just a police unit. It is a symbol of absolute courage, discipline, and sacrifice. Every mission they face carries real danger, and yet they move forward without hesitation. Their duty is simple but never easy. Protect the innocent and restore peace where chaos tries to rule. And they do it with unmatched precision. Over the years, BOPE has conducted thousands of operations across Brazil, often entering areas where ordinary policing is impossible. These officers train for situations most people will never experience in their entire lives. High-risk hostage rescues, complex urban warfare, and direct confrontations with heavily armed criminal groups. Their results speak louder than any words. In recent years alone, BOPE units across Brazil have seized hundreds of rifles, thousands of illegal firearms, and tons of ammunition. These operations have dismantled dangerous criminal networks and removed weapons capable of fueling entire wars. In Rio de Janeiro, for example, BOPE operations led to the seizure of assault rifles such as AK-47s, FALs, and AR-15s, many of them originally smuggled from international markets. Each weapon removed from the streets represents a life potentially saved. Every operation has a measurable impact, and BOPE's actions have prevented countless tragedies. But their heroism goes beyond equipment or tactics. What makes BOPE truly extraordinary is their willingness to walk into danger so others don't have to. Their bravery is the type that requires both physical skill and absolute mental control. They face gunfire, explosives, ambushes, and unpredictability on a daily basis. Yet they continue because stopping is never an option. BOPE officers often say that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward even when fear is present. And that is exactly what they do. Every mission, every step, every heartbeat in the middle of chaos reflects their dedication to protecting lives. Their training is among the toughest in the world. Only a small percentage of candidates survive the brutal selection process, which includes exhaustion tests, tactical simulations, survival challenges, and psychological stress drills. The ones who make it earn the right to wear the famous black uniform and the iconic skull emblem, a symbol respected across the world. The skull is not meant to glorify violence. Instead, it represents the reality that BOPE faces, the constant confrontation with danger, and the determination to overcome it. It symbolizes resilience, duty, and an unbreakable spirit. Today, BOPE continues to evolve, using advanced technology, armored vehicles, drones, and state-of-the-art weapons to stay ahead of criminal organizations. Their tactics are studied internationally, and special forces from different countries have trained alongside them to learn urban combat strategies developed over decades of real-world experience. Whenever the BOPE is deployed, the message is clear. The mission will be completed, no matter how difficult or dangerous. And that is why many consider them unsung heroes, individuals who rarely receive public recognition, yet risk everything to guarantee security for millions of people. Their courage is not theoretical, it is real, it is measurable, and it changes lives. Behind every operation report, behind every seized weapon, behind every rescued civilian, there is a BOPE officer who put everything on the line.